All right, hello and welcome. And this is who is an incredible entrepreneur and writer. And as I said in my post a couple of days ago, he's been writing 1 hour a day. He's written close to 125 pages of his book, so he's almost done with his book. And a lot of people had questions about how he's been able to do this. And so we wrote down all the questions. Thank you so much for your great questions and all of your encouragement and acknowledgement of Jake. And I'm going to be on this Facebook Live. Hey, Aaron. On this Facebook Live, I'm going to be interviewing Jake and asking him all the questions that you asked in the Facebook post. All right. Hey, Vondette, and hey, Cynthia. So the first question was from Dottie Shields. She asked, did you have a plan for the order?
Well, I made an outline, and actually I was making the outline at the same time as I was writing, so I was actually part of my hour in the very beginning. So I was writing, and then I new one and edited the other chapters because they were based on the other outline. So now I'm writing on this other outline that I really like.
Yeah. So you had an outline that you created with your Grandma Felice.
Yeah.
And then you decided to change it, and now everything that you're doing is based. Nice. Awesome. And speaking of outlines, does your brother Zach like outlines, or?
No.
He's not a big fan of outlines. All right. So the next question comes from Christine, and she asks, I've always wanted to write a book, but it seems overwhelming, so I never get started. Are there any tips for getting started? How do you begin to write?
Well, so if you're a fiction writer like I am, but if you aren't, then I would so get like a page and write everything, like cover everything you want to write in the book, and ideas will just come to you while you're writing. So write what you want it to be.
Yeah.
Write how did
I think you explained it pretty well. So you could either start by writing a short story just to get you started, or you could just take out a fresh sheet of paper and brainstorm, or a Microsoft Word document.
Ideas and stuff.
Yeah, and just write down ideas of what you could write about,
and soon your book will be developed.
And you're just developing your book as you go. Nice. All right. The next question is, Jessica was wondering, what do you focus on when you're writing for an hour? What do you focus on writing during that 1 hour?
Well, I focus on one word at a time, so to keep it simple. And then soon I'm flipping through pages and then chapters and then a whole book.
Yeah, nice. And so just one word at a time, and basically you're just going chapter by chapter. So
page by page.
You just work, like sometimes when you're working for an hour, you just try and get one chapter done or 2 chapters done. And you're now on what chapter?
Chapter 48.
Chapter 48. So, if the goal is just to, in 1 hour, do a chapter, which for you is usually 2 to 3 pages, that's a realistic goal of what you can accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The next one is, what do you do when you don't feel like writing?
Usually I don't write, and then at the end of the night I have to do it because I haven't done it, and that can be really annoying.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I wish I just could sit down and write, but sometimes I feel like it, sometimes I don't.
Yeah. So. But the thing that I've been really proud of you over this summer was, for the last 3 months or so, you watched a video of a writer who just talked about the importance of writing every day, and so you set a goal of writing an hour a day, and only missed one day the entire summer.
Yeah,
And
but then I made it up.
then you made it up the next day, did a little
And
extra.
then one day I did 2 hours, so.
And one day I did 2 hours. So it's that discipline of just saying no matter what, I'm going to do it before I go to bed.
Yeah. And, yeah.
Nice. Okay, this next question comes from Molly and also Tomasa. So what do you do when you don't feel like writing? Oh, I just asked that, didn't I? Yeah, that's funny. So that last question was from Molly and Tomasa. Molly also asked, where do you get your ideas?
They usually just come at random times. Like, I think the time it comes the most is when I'm about to go to bed. But it or when I'm in a really boring class at school.
Okay, so they just come at random times.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, and what makes a good book in your opinion?
Oh.
Also another question from Molly Mandelberg. Be
Uh,
awesome.
Well, I think for a fiction book, I think the thing that you really want to focus on is verbs, action, because actions speak better than words, or more than words, or whatever. But I don't really do. I haven't done any nonfiction, so I don't really know what makes a good book. I guess with the best information, but.
Okay. Okay. So you're speaking more from the fiction standpoint. So what makes because your favorite book is like the Rick Riordan, Percy Jackson.
Yeah. So they
What makes that great?
also another. So they have really good verbs and really good humor. So you're literally laughing.
As you're reading the book.
Yeah. I just was on a Zoom call with my friend Jamie. He used to be our nanny. And he's like, about only 2 books have made me actually laugh out loud. So I think those 2 books are probably one of the best books in the world.
So funny and good verbs is our advice.
And then you don't want to do you want to do adjectives, but not too much adjectives, because that can make then people, like I've noticed in some books they do too much, and you're like, can you just get on with the story?
Yeah, where it's just like too many adjectives.
But you want to give them a picture of where we are or who we're meeting and stuff like that.
Nice, I love it.
And you want to give them interesting features.
Mm-hmm. Nice, but not too many adjectives. So what's your dream? This is a question from Molly as well as Hani, both asked. What's your dream for how your writing career will change the world? And what is your biggest wish as a writer, entrepreneur, leader?
That's a really hard one. Well, I just want to I want to write a book, or actually I want to write a series, but I want to write something and go around the world telling kids how that they can do it and helping them, and yeah.
Nice. So you want to go around the world helping kids who want to write a book and express themselves to do so. So that's super cool.
And asking kids that have written a book what they did.
Okay, so interviewing kids who have written a book. So if you know of any kids who have written a book, feel free to let them know so that Jake can interview them. Eventually, once the book is out, Jake has big plans to create a program where he's interviewing other kids who have written books. And
and then it's gonna be I'm also planning on writing another book, which I've actually started because sometimes you just get bored with one book. So I have like tons and tons of things going, but I really focused on my one book that I want to get done. But I've started this other book, and it's actually if you see it, it's called The Kid's Guide to Writing a Fictional Book. Well, at least it's currently called that. It may change, but if you see it, you'll be like, who's Alex Brown? And he's actually a character in my book that I'm writing for an hour a day. So there's a lot of humor from him because he's actually wants to start this funny program. So
Nice. Okay. That kind of answers the next question from Molly, which was, who do you most want to reach? And it's kids.
yeah, it's kids about like, I'd say when they can read to, or maybe a little bit older because there's a little bit of stuff that, I don't know, some parents may not want their kids reading, to about 13.
Nice.
Or older if they're interested. Like I'd say about 7 to 13.
Nice.
Probably my main thing.
Great. So the next one is from Megan Walrod, one of our dear friends. And she said, I so look forward to reading your book. I am also curious where your inspiration for your book came from.
Well, so there was, as I was saying, Rick Riordan. He's my favorite author, along with some other ones. So I would watch, well, actually, I guess it started when I was 4, and I was like, whoa, I could write a book and make thousands of dollars, and I could buy toys or whatever, or plastic basketball hoops. And so I started this fairy book. We call it the and then book because there's a ton of and thens.
Yeah, so it was like, and then he walked over to the staircase.
Blah, blah, blah,
And
blah.
then he walked down the staircase.
Then they built a hotel as big as.
And so
just
we
went
call
on.
it the and then book, but it was the beginning of your writing career.
Mhm.
And that's right, Megan is also a writer, and she's also done an amazing book project, which we'll write about in the comments as well.
Mhm.
Let's see, what has the writing journey of... Hani Cheng asked, what has the writing journey of 120 plus pages taught you so far?
I'd say that I actually can write that much because at first when I didn't have my daily hour or any time at all, I would sometimes write. Sometimes I wouldn't even write at all, but it was kind of my goal. I had like this routine, and one of them for my writing, my writing wasn't the biggest thing on the list. It was write a paragraph, but that was when it was school, and then summer it was write a page. So, and sometimes I wouldn't do that, and I got like 5 pages, and most of it I would tell Grandma Felice I would tell her what to write, and she would write, but she would help when I was kind of stuck. But now I write in my notebooks. I'm on the second one. I finished a whole notebook, and so now I'm actually you're typing because Grandma doesn't want to type, just type. She wants to teach me stuff on writing.
Yeah, so I've taken over the role of typing and editing. But yeah, the 125 pages are actually handwritten in notebooks.
Yeah.
So we're going to be transcribing those
And then editing them.
and then editing.
Grandma was actually wanted. She actually did some typing today, but she volunteered
Okay.
because she's like, we really need to get it so we can edit it.
Yes. Yeah. I think we've typed eight of the 48 chapters.
Yeah,
8
we're
or
actually
9.
on. Yeah.
Okay. Becca asked, Jacob, I'm curious, how do you plan to share your book with the world? I just self-published and I'm swimming in the writing juice with you.
Oh yeah, she also said.
Oh yeah, and then when it's done, will it be a Kindle book? Spring Loftus actually asked this. Will it be a Kindle book, a physical book, or both?
I'd say both. That's what I want. And I'm also planning on doing an audio book. But I think if I could choose one, I'd do physical because, I mean, I probably like physical the best because, I can, some other readers, I don't really understand because it's not the reading I'm used to. It's like too slow because, or too fast. And so I wouldn't want an audiobook. And, and I'd want to, physical book because you guys wouldn't always let me, be on your phone.
Right. Right. So physical book.
You were really
sounds
mad when we downloaded this Kindle graphic novel. You're like, what?
Get off our phone.
Yeah, and it's also bad for your eyes. So.
Yeah. We try to stay off phones as much as possible. Okay. Was there a moment when you first considered yourself a writer?
I think that's probably I probably always considered myself, well, I hardly knew what the word writer meant when I was 4, but I'd say I'd always think I was a writer, but really when now when I started doing my hour a day, now I consider myself a real writer.
Nice.
And soon to be an author.
A real writer. And soon to be author.
Hopefully of a New York Times bestseller.
I love it. Emily Levy asked, that was her question, and then she asked another great question, which is, how do you decide when you want to know things about the story that the characters don't know yet, and vice versa? So, how do you kind of figure that out?
Well, I like my thing is I like to have them not know until if they don't know, they're gonna fail. So I want to set them up for almost certain failure, but they take this part that's not the part that's the little tiny part that's not failure, and they use that to win.
Nice. I love that. And then, have your characters done anything that surprised you? Emily Levy asks. And then Megan Walrod says, do your characters tell the story to you?
So usually, since I have an outline, my characters don't really tell the story. But recently, all of a sudden I go and I add this extra part, or yeah.
Nice.
Like I've been writing short stories, and I added this whole extra part. But
Right, where you took one of your characters from your book and you kind of...
Yeah, well, so where they, so instead of where they were going to meet the villain in the end, but I made them meet them in, like, the middle.
Okay. And one of my favorite parts of your book is that you, one of your stories that you're writing, my two favorite characters is Broken and...
Nose.
Yeah, so he's got one character named Broken and the other character named Nose.
Yeah, it actually doesn't say in the book, but they are twins, and they have a tattoo on their forehead that says Broken says broken, and Nose says nose, and they have a one on their arm that says feel the burn, and they also they like to be called. They think like. Broken and Nose are kind of bad names. I don't know why they tattooed them to their forehead, but they like to be called the dudes.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
They're probably my favorite characters. I mean, they're really mean, but they're like my humor characters. I recently actually did an interview with them, so it's really funny.
Nice. Next question, and we only have a couple more, is what gives you the discipline to write daily? And so that was from Tomasa, and then Barbara Carroll asked, do you sit down at the same time every day? Are there any tricks or rewards that you give yourself when you're writing, or do you just love it so much that you just find yourself doing it?
Well, I do not sit down at the same time, because it's a lot of what would I say? So sometimes you guys are like, it's time to go to the grocery store. And I'm like, what? and it's like, it's Zach's soccer practice. But maybe, but I used to get rewards for my writing, which was chocolate. And sometimes I love writing. Sometimes it's kinda, and sometimes it's like, gotta get it done.
Yeah. So you used to give yourself blocks of chocolate after you finished.
Yeah, one block of chocolate every hour. But now
nice.
I don't do that.
Jamie, our nanny and friend of all time, said, do you want each book to stand on its own, or are you trying to build a body of work with connections between each book?
I'm trying to write a series, so they're actually they're not going to stand out on their own, because I mean, they're going to be kind of the same. It's based on the same thing. There are elements. They're like kind of like gods, but they're not. They're like godly characters. Like there's a ton, and so they if they have a war amongst each other, then for some apparent reason, a child with elemental powers is born. So my main character is Jason, and he figures out he has elemental powers, and also his friends do, and so that's how the series starts, pretty much. But if you want to find out what his elemental power is, we can tell you when it's out.
Oh, dropped a little seed there. Nice. Okay. So Susan D'Addario, who is a sleep coach, she said, how does writing make you feel both during and after a writing session? And Megan had a similar question, which is, does sitting down and writing feel like magic and fun or something else? So how do you feel when you're writing?
So before or during a writing session, sometimes I wish I could just be done with it, like wish the time would all of a sudden go shoo, or I had like a machine that I just go a few minutes past and then I'm like, whoa, I did it. And sometimes I wish I could write faster because I have so many ideas.
They're just like streaming through.
Yeah, I have like 10 sentences. I'm like,
yeah, nice. Karen Allen asked, this is awesome, Jake, way to go. I started writing at 9 and have published a book. It's so exciting to see the finished product. Question, what do you do for inspiration if you feel stuck for ideas?
Usually the thing that I do is I either sit there and wait for the ideas. That's probably my least favorite thing to do. That's my least favorite thing about writing. Or I take a break because I don't do an hour straight. It's usually 15 minutes. Oh yeah, I've actually recently been doing 15 minutes at a time, so 4 things, because it's just easier, and then I can say I'm going to do 15 minutes right now, and then, yeah.
So you literally have a timer that you set, and then you count it down all day with 15-minute increments. By the way, how much time do you have to write tonight? How much time do you have left?
I think I have like 14 minutes left.
14 minutes left, okay. It's getting late.
But yeah, now I'm doing 20 minutes because it's school and
right. So during the school year, it's dropped down to 20 minutes.
But we're thinking about doing homeschool, so then I'll go back to an hour. Maybe I'll even make it 2 hours.
That'd be crazy. Okay, just a couple more here. What wisdom do you have for a young person who has an idea for a book but doesn't know what to do with it once they actually write their story? So they don't even start writing at all. So what would you tell them to start?
So yeah, it can be really overwhelming because you're like, I have thousands of months ahead of me or years. So I'd say like go back and look. Well, so you could do the thing where you brainstorm or make an outline. That's pretty much what I'd recommend.
Okay, make an outline, brainstorm some. What motivates you to sit down and write every day? This comes from one of my longtime friends, Dana Lawrence. Thanks for sending in your question. So, what motivates you to sit down and write every day?
Well, I don't really. I mean, motivating helps, but I think the thing that's when you're most motivated is when you're actually starting to write something new. I think that's when I really like it. But I don't really get that motivated. I just stay committed. I believe more in commitment than motivation.
Nice. I love that. Commitment before motivation. Commitment creates motivation.
Because
it's just a no matter what it takes commitment.
Yeah, but commitment can also turn into motivation.
Mm-hmm.
So they're kind of combined, but at the same time they're miles away.
Nice. Okay. I think you answered Shayna J's question, which is about the secret to completing the task each day when there are so many distractions, just staying committed. And then, it's just like, do you give yourself permission to go to bed without doing it? And you haven't, so.
Yeah, usually it's, a bit of an argument with Mom. If
Right,
I haven't done
'cause-
it. I'm like, I need
Because
to
Mom's
do
like,
it.
it's time for bed, and you're like, but I need to write. So there we go. All right. Holly Shaw asked, she said, way to go, Jake. You're doing something so amazing, and your joy at sharing about it to inspire others is so beautiful. A couple of questions. How did you decide what to focus on? And how do you get through those moments and continue to find the inspiration to write? I think we talked about that commitment.
Yeah.
And but how did you decide what to write about?
So in the beginning, like genres.
Yeah.
So I started with this. I started with the fairy book, but then I just stopped at some point, and then I had this other about this character named Berha. That's actually a Scottish name, and all the characters were Scottish. It was from Scotland, like medieval Scotland. But then one day, Grandma was like, that was just it. She just threw it out there, and I thought about it, and I was like, that's actually a good idea, because people can relate more to that. And so I did this book about, this book started about, it was Jason, and it started with it started with the first idea of it. Like, she was actually at my house at the time, and the first idea was, we were actually writing it down in pen, was there were two gangs. One gang was like perfectly normal, and the other gang, everybody was a misfit. Like, they had some disability or something. Actually, Jason actually, they still have those disabilities, but, well, some of they're not disabilities. I mean, actually, they're not disabilities. They're unique features, I'll call it. Yeah. And so, actually, I kept that, but it moved, and so it was fiction, but it wasn't fantasy. So, and there was this evil guy named Diablo, and he had all these robots and mechanic stuff. He's still in there. He's still the villain in my book. And yeah, Diablo actually means devil in French, so we took a long time looking for that, but I think that's one of the best we could get. And then then it moved from and then one day I was like, I asked Grandma, do you think I'm thinking about writing a fantasy book, what's your opinion? And she said that would be great. So it changed from that, the two gangs, and it moved more towards these 5 kids who save the world with their elemental powers. And yeah, and so we didn't actually have a name for the other book, but it turned from that to The Sword of Air,
Nice.
which I'm currently writing.
Sword of Air. All right, so we just have one last question, which is from our dear friend Jen Schmidt. And she said, Jake, I love this. How do we get our hands on a copy of your first book?
So I think we'll let you know. We'll do like a Facebook post, maybe an email, when it's out. And also, if you go on my YouTube channel, you can. I'll definitely do a video saying that, and I think. Where do you think we're gonna sell it? Or we don't know.
Well, it's going to be on Amazon, and then we might we might find some other places to sell it
So
as
if you
well. So
what does subscribing do again?
What?
What does subscribing do again?
Oh, for YouTube?
Yeah.
So we'll post the YouTube link to subscribe to Jake's channel
Yeah.
on YouTube, and
I think there's this. If you press this bell-looking thing, it will
Yeah.
give you a notification every time there's a video. So,
yeah. So we're going to be posting more videos like this.
Yeah, we're actually going to. I think we're gonna post. We're gonna take this and download it and put it on YouTube.
Yes.
So, if you want to watch it again, it'll be there. But it's also gonna be on Facebook, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So thank you so much for all the questions and for supporting our amazing guy, Jake, who is just rocking it and so disciplined and so amazing with the writing. So really proud of you and the work that you're doing and all the young people that you'll inspire with helping them to get their message and their writing out there in a bigger way. So. You are rocking it. Good job. And
Remember to subscribe.
subscribe. And if you feel called to, feel free to share this video as well.
Yeah. We were watching this one video, and this guy is like, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. What are you doing?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
really funny, but
So,
yeah.
all right. Thanks, guys. And we'll be in the comments answering some questions as well. All right. Have a good one.
Bye.